This is Eileen Griffin with the Heartland View from the Heartland Daily News, bringing you information and analysis about public policy stories that affect your life, your health, your freedoms, and the nation's economy. This week, we're going to cover a variety of stories from around the country at different state-level issues, and then we're going to cover our feature story, which is by economist Stephen Moore. You won't want to miss that. So let's start with the state of Michigan. So Michigan, the House now approved a bill to protect whistleblowers. So this bill provides for a new ombudsman position for the purpose of receiving complaints from state employees if they notice a waste of taxpayer dollars in their department. The ombudsman would allow them to come forward with their complaint with confidentiality. Representative Annette Glenn, a Republican from Midland, said, quote, "This reform received broad support from Republicans and Democrats alike because it's the right thing to do. This is about making state government better and more accountable to the people who pay for it and rely on its services. We must create a system where state employees know they can come safely forward with important, sensitive information that can improve how government operates, save taxpayer money, and potentially even save lives." End quote. So now we're going to move on to Maine, up north. So Republicans in Maine are working on a tax reduction for taxpayers in that state. The state of Maine received billions of taxpayer dollars from the federal government, which they don't really need. And so Republicans in that state are proposing to give the money back to taxpayers. GOP leaders said the support should go to the people, not to new government programs. Now they'll have to work through a final budget agreement with Democrats, so we'll see where that goes. Now in Rhode Island is proposing a minimum wage hike for that state. As reported previously, there's concerns with the wage hike in any state. There tends to be unintended consequences. It will likely lower the value of low-skilled workers and potentially cost them jobs, as they'll be replaced by higher-skilled workers or by automation. All of these jobs that are out there could be lost. It will also place an undue burden on businesses emerging from a year of pandemic lockdowns. Either way, workers lose. Now, in Wisconsin, 6 Kenosha residents filed a complaint alleging that the city violated the U.S. Constitution's Elections and Electors Clause by signing contracts with third-party groups that allowed these groups to take over facets of the election administration. The third-party group that managed the Kenosha election was a Chicago-based group called the Center for Tech and Civic Life, and they have a network of left-wing partners. Now, the Center for Tech and Civic Life received $350 million from Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. Emails show that Kenosha, like 4 other cities that signed a contract with these third-party organizations, received hefty grants. For each of the cities, they received a large sum of money, but with provisions. So the clawback provision meant that the Center for Tech and Civic Life could take back funding if the cities didn't do what the center told them to do. Lawyers representing the complainants in Kenosha, Green Bay, and Racine say binding election official to terms of an outside contractor is at odds with the U.S. Constitution. There's also provisions that require that Wisconsin election commissioners be the only overseers of elections in that state. This organization administered elections in 5 Wisconsin towns. Kenosha is now the latest to express concerns about having a left-wing group involved in their state's elections. So, now on to our feature story. I said from economist Stephen Moore, 98% of the way there, Trump's super V-shaped recovery. So the U.S. economy is now 98% to where we were before the pandemic. This is just amazing. And this rebound is one of the outstanding U.S. achievements in history. It's unbelievable. Since June of last year, the economy has rocketed by 34% in quarter three of 2020, 4.2% in quarter 4 of 2020, 6.4% in the first 3 months of 2021. So far in this current quarter, growth is more than 10%. Almost no one expected this. The economy has spurted at twice the pace the professional forecasters had expected. And former President Donald Trump proved these experts wrong again. Other parts of the world have not emerged with as much success. Stephen Moore attributes it to the same thing that former President Ronald Reagan attributed a lot of American success to, and that's the American can-do spirit. So the belief that Americans can do anything, they can achieve anything if they work hard enough at it. Throughout the pandemic, we saw this. We saw businesses adapting and adjusting to this changing environment with a can-do spirit to keep these businesses open and thriving. This entrepreneurial drive, the can-do spirit, is one of the things that makes America unique. And that's why America came through the pandemic in far better shape than many other countries. Leaders like Florida's Ron DeSantis emerged in states that became the bearers of the country's burden. Red states stayed open, cut their employment rates down to less than 5%, and carried the U.S. economy on their backs, while states like New York and California and Illinois locked down completely and flatlined. It was former President Donald Trump who made the brilliant decision to let the states lead and be independent. Does anybody doubt that if President Joe Biden had been in charge at this time last year, he would have ordered a catastrophic national lockdown of the economy? And right now, we'd be looking like Europe. It was the drive of businessman turned president Donald Trump that resulted in the development of the vaccine 1 year ahead of schedule. That's can-do spirit. The New York Times, while acknowledging America's economic supremacy and the success of President Trump's Operation Warp Speed, they still tried to say that the lesson here was giving out public money, the unleashing enormous amount of public funds in the face of this livelihood-destroying health crisis. But that's not it. Stephen Moore says that's just wrong. The enduring lesson of this is America's supersized comeback, the American dream, the American effort. It pays to keep your economy functional and to open for business so livelihoods aren't destroyed in the first place. American can-do spirit. Now, before I close, I want to make a comment about comments. Several weeks back, there was a comment left on one of the message boards. A person was saying they had been trying to talk to family and friends and trying to explain a different position. And I'm assuming what they meant was their perspective was from the liberal or left-wing side. And the comment was, I don't think a 10-minute video is going to change their minds. And I think that's true. One 10-minute video is not going to change their minds, even if it's an awesome video. So the suggestion I have is it's about repetition. It's about several different aspects and angles of getting information to people that need information they're not going to get from mainstream news. So maybe 1 week it's a video, a couple weeks later you send them an article, you engage in a discussion, and it's about peppering this information little bit by little bit to get this effort out there. So use various methods, use repetition, and my final comment on that topic is don't ever give up. Thank you for your efforts. I think you should continue them. So with that, I'll close for the week and say thank you for your time, as always. And if you'd like to see more information, the full details on these articles, as well as many others, go to heartlanddailynews.com. And if you'd like to support the organization that provides this information to you, go to heartland.org. Thank you for listening. Have a great week.